Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Obviously in Warzone, we got a lot of different weapon categories. You have quite a bit to choose from now between all of the MW2, Modern Warfare 3, then also Black Ops 6 weapons. And today I wanted to go category by category, at least those that you can actually make loadouts on. So launchers here, sorry, you're not getting a lot of love today, but all the actual customizable weapon categories and break down the best weapon and the best loadout from each of them. So we'll start first with our true secondaries, then work our way through the primaries. For the pistols, funny enough, the best pistol in this game truly is in the form of a special weapon. It's the Sierra 9mm. It's called a special weapon, but truthfully, this is a SMG pistol hybrid, right? Like if you're not running overkill, you're using gunfire or whatever, you can use this as a true secondary option through the special category. And what's convenient about the Sierra 9mm is that its attachments are about as straightforward as can be, just because it has no attachments. Every category has like one or two max, right? So for the optic, I just like the default iron sight on here. I think it's pretty clean, all things considered. I like the basic suppressor. It's also your only option for a muzzle, right? So it keeps you off the radar there. Long barrel, the only option for a barrel here. With this, you are going to have an 11-meter effective damage range. So the TTK is actually a little bit better than some of the pistols, especially as you do extend that damage range out. So this is a little bit more reliable than something like a Grakova or something else like that. I like the vertical foregrip on here a bit more as opposed to the lightweight, just for the benefits here. Better control, a little bit better movement speed, and ADS speed too is a nice added bonus. Then extended mag 1 works fine here too. It'll be a 40 rounder. That's going to be great for all squad sizes. So very straightforward secondary option here for the pistol best setup, but the Sierra 9mm is honestly pretty solid there as a nice secondary option. But now we shift into the main primary categories here, and first up with the snipers, there's a lot of competition here. Like truthfully saying this one is the absolute definitive best, it's a controversial statement because you can make the argument for a lot of different snipers here. The Frostline, the Cat AMR, the Moors, even the AMR Mod 4 is not bad. I think the most reliable though is going to be the LR762 here. You have a great damage range. It is one-shot headshot within that max damage range. Easy to use because the lack of idle sway that's still present on some other snipers from older titles. Like this is the most straightforward, the easiest, and the most reliable in my opinion. Even though yes, its one-shot range is still a little bit limited here. It's not too slow or too heavy either. So basic suppressor here first and foremost keeps you off the radar, as simple as that. Long barrel is going to be super important here to extend out that damage range. With this on there, we have an 85-meter one-shot headshot range. That's going to be great for any resurgence map and even quite a bit of big map gameplay as well. Extended mag 1 is going to be nice here, 7 rounds. It's just a nice little extra here because quite frankly, I like the default optic. If you're not a fan of the default scope, you could switch that out for extended mag 1. This is more so just an added benefit. You don't have to reload as often, right? Quick draw rear grip, going to be super clutch here, helps increase that ADS speed, make that faster. So we're at a 520. It's not too terribly slow, about average for what we have with all the heavy snipers in the game. Then lastly, I like overpressured ammo on here to increase that velocity. We're up over 1,000 here, 1,058. So you're not going to have to worry about bullet drop off or bullet lead too much, especially in that one-shot damage range of 85, almost 86 meters. So like I said, this thing is just easy. For a one-shot headshot sniper, it's reliable. You know what you're getting straight up. It's not going to be too difficult for anyone to pick up and get those one-shot knocks with, and hence why I would say it's the best sniper right now. Now for marksman rifles, again, it's a pretty tricky conversation here because you have something like the Kar 98K, which is a fantastic aggressive sniper, great for resurgence gameplay, especially if you like quick scoping. But also you have a weapon like the DM10, which is a lot more forgiving than a one-shot bolt action sniper. Still difficult to use because it's semi-auto, but it's got a great TTK at pretty much every damage range. It's also a Black Ops 6 weapon, so it's got that feel that's just a little bit more optimal than some of the older MW2 and MW3 weapons. So the DM10 is my choice here, although the setup is rather unique because of the things you really got to focus on with the DM10 to make it great. So first up, optic here, I really like the Jason Armory 2 times and the Willis 3 times. That's what I bounce back and forth with the most for any mid to long range gun. Really is a matter of preference though. If there's a different scope you like more, feel free to go ahead and run that. I actually don't use a suppressor here just because I find value in these other attachments. Now if you're using gunfighter on your loadout, absolutely go ahead, throw on a suppressor, you'll be good to go there. But I don't feel like you absolutely need it, especially if you're more so a resurgence player. You're going to be pinging on the map constantly because of the resurgence pings as is, right? But reinforced barrel here works great. Added velocity and added range is going to be great. So we're up to an 1100 velo. That's phenomenal. 35-meter effective damage range, also really solid all things considered, and the damage drop off over range isn't too harsh. Lightweight handguard here is also super important for the added idle sway here. When this is a semi-auto gun, Obviously, idle sway is going to be super important for recentering, making sure you're accurate as you're spamming, so that's a really important one there. Extended 2 gives us a 30 round extended mag. That's the max here. And on top of that, I do also use rapid fire because this only hurts your recoil. Typically rapid fire hurts your range and your velocity. It doesn't in this case. With rapid fire on, we can get an even better TTK when you can max out that fire rate. So you definitely want to have as much ammo as possible. You can still burn through 30 if you got a fast fire rate and a fast trigger finger, but you're gonna be burning through ammo and knocking players incredibly quick. So the DM10, definitely a higher skill gap gun, but one that is also very rewarding if you know what you're doing with it. And by the way, as we are going through all the weapons and setups here today, if you enjoy the video, if you find it helpful at all, a like rating is always seriously appreciated. Really helps grow the channel and share the video around. And if you happen to be new here, or perhaps you have not subscribed yet, we should change that. Every single day I got you covered with news, updates, patch notes, meta breakdowns, all things going on in COD. So feel free to hit that subscribe button and join us on getting one step closer to 1 million subscribers. Next up for the LMGs, this one's a pretty easy choice for me, the XMG. It's basically just a super heavy XM4, right? Basically no recoil because you've got the buffer weight stock on there. Great damage range. It is checking all the right boxes for an LMG. Now, it is still going to be slow, it is still going to be heavy, but that's what you're buying into when you are using an LMG to begin with, so that's not really a huge surprise by any means, right? Here, I do use the Jason Armory 2 times, just simply a matter of preference. Again, always go for whatever optic you are the most comfortable with. Basic suppressor, keeping me off the radar, nice and easy there. Reinforced barrel I think is great here as well for that added damage range and velocity. 924 velo is pretty solid. 57 meter effective damage range is fantastic as well. Because this is an LMG, I'd like to try and keep it a decent bit aggressive if I can, so I actually go for fast mag 1 here. You still get a 75 round extended mag, right? It's bigger than most like you'll find on an AR or a battle rifle or anything else, right? So 75 still works fine, but you also get a slightly better ADS speed. Your reload's not too terribly slow either. I just think this is a nice little versatile factor in this setup. And then of course we got to have that buffer weight stock on there. It's only available on a couple of guns, and when it is available, it turns the gun into an absolute beast. So this is going to be so good for a full auto build here, where this thing is just going to be an absolute laser beam, whether you're fighting at 40 meters, 80 meters, 100 meters, you're gonna be right on target because it's gonna be no recoil or very low recoil and still pack a punch at the same time. Now for the shotguns, again, there's quite a bit of competition here between some solid options. You have something like the Marine SP, which is pretty good. You have the MX Guardian, which isn't too bad. The Riveter has also been kind of crazy as of late as well. Kind of surprised this one has not been fully updated. Gumi though, the shotgun guru, that's who I typically go to for all the shotgun details. He's by far the most in depth with this particular class. The Riveter that he talked about lately is going crazy. It's a little bit riskier because you do have to be really up close and personal for this thing to thrive, but it's a shotgun. You should expect that going in, and when you are up close and personal, this thing is very obnoxious to run into with this specific build. I am focused on tack stance with this, so of course any MW3 gun you can just flip into tack stance and you'll be good to go with this. That's where I think this is really the most optimal. You don't have to worry about having a crazy snappy ADS speed or anything. Tack stance is going to allow you to move a little bit more freely as you are running and gunning. So Crownbreaker choke here helps out with that tack stance spread, and then also just the general tighter pellet spread as well. Literally any angled underbarrel is going to be great here. You just want one that's going to help out the hip fire spread and then the aim walking steadiness. They all do the same thing basically if they are an angled one or whatever, so it doesn't really matter which one of those you have, so long as you have one of those helping out with the hip fire on there. 30 round extended mag, might as well, right? The more the merrier. Spray and pray. You don't really have to worry about missing shots because you're going to have plenty to back you up there. Great safety net with that. Buffer tube stock helps out a ton with movement here. Strafe, general movement, sprint to fire, just makes it a whole lot more aggressive. And then the gauge ball ammo. This is what's going to give you that crazy good TTK up close. Now it's going to hurt your damage range, which enforces you to be extra up close and personal, but when you are, this thing just absolutely, utterly decimates everyone up close. Not a huge fan of shotguns myself, but objectively speaking, this thing is incredibly good in the ultra close range. Hey everyone, exciting news. G Fuel just dropped a brand new flavor, and I think it's one you want to integrate into your gameplay ASAP. This is the brand new drop shot flavor. I'm about to try it for the very first time. This is a mandarin orange flavor. I'll let you guys know what I think about it. I gotta say, aesthetically, the color is phenomenal. Let's give it a go, see how it tastes. Oh, it's good. That's good. I like it. I like it a lot. When you think of an orange flavor, I mean, that's it. That is actually really, really good. And I gotta say, this one's gonna be a part of the main loadout for sure. But if you guys do want to pick up a tub for yourself, be sure to throw in code Immortal at checkout. That'll get you a nice little discount on your order. Link for that will be down in the description below if you're interested. Now for SMGs, not a huge surprise here. The Jackal PDW has been the go-to pretty much since day one. Surprised this one hasn't been updated yet, but because it hasn't, it's clearly the #1 SMG in terms of close range, TTK, fantastic damage range, easy to use, clean iron sights, great mobility. It's checking every single box that it needs to here, right? So for me, basic suppressor keeps me off the radar. I'm good to go there. Reinforced barrel I like on a lot of my SMGs because it gives you some range, some velocity. A 662 velo when you are in that mid-range just makes it a lot more reliable. Plus you already get a decent effective damage range at 12.6 meters. That said, I think the long barrel is always a phenomenal choice as well for every SMG too. Just a matter of, do you want that extra velocity or not? If you really notice that in your gameplay, neither here is a bad choice by any means, right? Ranger foregrip, you get some control and some sprinting movement speed, so you're more aggressive and the weapon's easier to use. That's a win-win. Extended mag 2 here, 50 round extended mag works fine for all squad sizes. Then the balanced stock on here as well. Strafe speed, movement speed, ADS strafe as well. You're just going to be more aggressive across the board, and that's obviously clutch on an SMG build where you're constantly running and gunning. So straightforward, no surprise in this category, but the Jackal is the go-to. Still. Now, battle rifles. Yes, it's still a category, even though we don't have any Black Ops 6 battle rifles. It's only MW2 and MW3 options, and funny enough, the go-to is the Sidewinder. Yes, this thing was so bad for so long. It got better towards the end of MW3 Warzone, but as it stands right now, it's not too terribly difficult to use, although it is still kind of awkward compared to other options like the battle rifles in general. Not necessarily a meta category, but we got to talk about it still. And its TTK is actually pretty fast, all things considered. It's just got that annoying MW2 weapon feel and higher skill gap still. But that said, if you know what you're doing with it, it can actually be pretty rewarding. On here, I go for the NIDAR model 2023. I'm just super comfortable with this optic. Again, though, if you have one you like more, feel free to go for that. Speared fire suppressor, gonna help out with some range and some velocity here, obviously pretty clutch. And then the precision barrel is gonna do more of the same with added velocity, added control on there. So we end up with a 23 meter effective damage range, although the drop off's not too crazy, and over 1,000 velocity too, which is gonna be great for every type of fight you're getting into with this thing. Pineapple underbarrel is gonna be the same as all the other vertical underbarrels, just helping out with recoil control and firing aim stability. So it doesn't matter which one of these you're using, just use one that's gonna help out with recoil. You're gonna want that on this gun. And then 30 rounds is the max here. This thing's got a not crazy fast fire rate, but it's also not like it's semi-auto. It still shoots decently fast in full auto. So 30 rounds isn't great, but it's what you have to work with. Luckily, the TTK is quick enough that you can knock several players within 30 rounds, get that reload off, and you'll be good to go. So awkward weapon, but still very good if you know what you're doing with it. And then lastly, for the assault rifles, again, a pretty obvious choice. It's got to be the XM4. No recoil because of the stock here. Great TTK over all ranges. Way too much ammo, more than you even know what to do with it most times. This thing is the end-all be-all rifle, the do-it-all rifle right now. So for an optic, again, for me, it's the Willis 3 times, matter of preference. Basic suppressor keeping me off the radar. I like the gain twist barrel on here a lot for the added velocity. That said, again, long barrel is awesome. Reinforced barrel is awesome. It's really just a matter of preference and feel, but I feel like with 1100 velocity, this thing, especially with how accurate it is, it just hits so good over long range that I can't pass it up. When I switch over to reinforced, I feel like I notice that slight velocity drop off, or with the long barrel, same deal. But you might like the better damage range more than I like the feel of velocity. That's really a preference thing. Like I said, all three are good. Extended 3 on here, 100 rounds, might as well, right? I mean, extended 2 is going to be a little bit more aggressive, and 60 is still plenty of ammo, but you have 100. It's funny, and it's so overkill, and it works. I mean, this is what everyone's running in ranked, and of course, top players typically going for 100 as well. Then also, of course, the buffer weight stock makes this thing a no recoil laser beam. You're not going to have to worry about figuring out how to control this gun. You can pick this up and just fry with it right away. It's just that simple and that straightforward. And that being said, those are the best meta setups and meta weapons in every single category here in Warzone as it stands. That's going to wrap things up. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, you want to guarantee that every single day you're in the know for all things going on in COD, feel free to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.